All right. Welcome to the Upper Rotunda, everybody. This is also known as the Memorial Rotunda because as you look around, you can see there are plaques on the walls in memory of soldiers who fought on behalf of Canada over the years. You can also see this is a very grand room. It's very beautiful. It's very ornately designed with a high ceiling. All of this was done for a very specific reason by the man who designed this building, the architect. His name was Francis Mawson Rattenbury. He was from Leeds in England, and he was only 25 years old when he designed this building. It was also the first building that he ever designed in his solo career as an architect. So, considering all that, I would say he did a pretty good job. Although he didn't do a perfect job, he did make a few mistakes along the way. I mentioned downstairs that the original cost to construct this building was about $900,000. What I didn't mention was that it was supposed to be $500,000. So they spent almost twice as much money as they were supposed to in the original construction of the building, and so because of that, some of the grander details in this room especially had to be added later after the original construction was complete, once they had secured more funding. One of which is all of the gold that you see on the walls in this room. It is all genuine 23 karat gold, but before you get too impressed, it's very, very thin gold leaf. So even if you scraped all of the gold off of the walls in this room and you squished it together into a coin, you would go to jail, and also the coin would probably only be about sort of so big. That's how thin the gold in this room is. Something else that was added later was these 4 beautiful murals that we have painted on our ceiling here. They were done by a Victoria artist named George Southwell, and they depict the 4 main industries that began British Columbia's economy back in the early days of us as a British settlement. We kind of call them the 4 F's. You can see there is farming, fishing, forestry, and mining, the 4 F's. Yeah, thank you. Also at the very top of the room here, you can see the underside of our main dome. That is our largest green copper dome, one of 33 copper domes that we have on the roof of the building. This dome in particular, the largest one, also has that large golden man standing on top of it. That's a statue of George Vancouver. He was the first ever European man to circumnavigate Vancouver Island and make maps and charts of the area, hence why it is named after him, Vancouver Island. And just like the gold in this room, Mr. Vancouver on the roof is not made out of solid gold. He is made out of copper, just like the domes, and then plated very thinly on the outside in real gold. So yes, any questions about any of this so far? Anything you see in this room? Yes? Yes, there are Latin words written in repetition on all 4 walls in this room. That is our provincial motto here in British Columbia. So it reads as Splendor sine occasu, but translated into English, that means splendor without diminishment, or essentially never-ending beauty. That is the official motto of the province of BC. Yeah, any other questions? Yes? What an excellent question, and what a wonderful segue to my next topic over here, which is this set of doors. Funny that you should ask. So these doors are actually the reason that this room we are currently in is so large and beautiful. It's because this is the ceremonial entrance to the building. So anytime important visitors come to the building on official state business, this is the entrance that they use. So heads of state it is reserved for. So prime ministers and presidents from other countries, indigenous chiefs that sometimes come to the building to sign treaties and participate in ceremonies, members of the royal family, the Emperor of Japan has come through these doors. And this is the first room in the building that they set foot in. And the architect knew that. And so he designed this building, or specifically this room in the building, to be a wonderful first impression to welcome people to the province of British Columbia and to reflect its natural beauty. Another group of people that have used these doors was about 200 school children in 1947. They were gathered outside the building because they were protesting the price of chocolate bars. It had just risen that year from 5 cents for a chocolate bar to 8 cents for a chocolate bar. And so they were upset. They were protesting outside, and they were pulling on these big metal gates that we have out front. And somebody that day had forgotten to lock the gates, and so they actually opened. And so the kids came up the steps and through these doors. They got into this room and they spread out down the hallways and knocked on all the doors and shouted about chocolate. And eventually they were rounded up by security. But because they were relatively young, they didn't actually get in very much trouble. And also, because of all the attention that they brought to this very important issue, the price of chocolate was actually lowered as a result, from 8 cents back down to 5. For maybe a day or so, and then it did go back up again. You know how these things go, but for a while they were successful. Yeah, any other last questions about something you can see in this room before we head to the next stop?